Hello, this is Rod Hadrian of Hadrian Tridipanel Systems. Today we are on location in Olivenhain, California, conducting a small seminar for several local contractors. This will be their first time working with the Tridipanel system. We are here building a small barn for a horse called Lucky. This barn will be completely built of the Tridipanel system and is actually about the same size as many small low-income homes. The time frame to set and erect the panels and build the barn will be approximately 2 days. The cement application with a very experienced crew will be an additional 3 days. This is a brief introduction of just one of the many structures that can be built with a Tridipanel system. I hope this short video will help you in the future with the construction of your own projects.
The 6x6 angle and the flat mesh and the panel. These angles go on the exterior corners, the 2-foot ones. The 6-inch ones go on the interior corners. The flat mesh just basically tie everything together. The thing that you need to try and do when you're putting these flat mesh angles on, you're going to find out they're usually concave. They're bent one way or the other. You want to try and put the concave part to the wall system. That way when you nail it down, it's going to be flat. If you turn it the other way, and then it has a tendency to hang out or bend out, then you got to put more plaster on to cover it up, or you got to use more staples to nail it down. It's really simple. Like, we're going to stand these panels up on the end first, on both ends. And what you don't want to do is you don't want to put one of these flat pieces on and put 25 or 30 staples on it. You just want to hang it in place. Just 1 or 2, or tie it with some end nippers. Nailing gun, we want to put the panels up, and then we're going to take one of those metal studs and we're going to lay it across them and straight edge the panels. We're trying to get 3 of them pretty plumb and pretty straight. And then after you get them all plumbed up and straight, then you can put all the staples in it you want in the world. If you put too many staples in it and it's got a little kink in it like this here, it's not forgiving. You can't hardly straighten it out. And if you have a wall that's 20 or 30 or 50 feet long and you get a bunch of kinks in it, then it's really hard to, it's just really hard to get it straight. What we've got here is this structure is going to be, it's basically 12 foot high all the way around the perimeter. Okay, it's 12 foot high. We've got 3 openings that are all the same. Into this front, they're going to be approximately 7 foot wide and 9 foot high. Approximately 47 inches across here. And then we're going to match this other opening up over here. There'll be a 2 foot wide piece that goes up, and then another opening and a 2 foot wide piece, and then the window in the end. We'll have 3 panels on this end, a 4-footer, a 4-footer, and a 4-footer. The same thing on the other end. It's a pretty simple structure. Then we're going to have a roof on it, and the roof's going to fall. We'll come down probably 6 inches from the top, and then we'll bring the roof down, and we'll probably drop it a 1/2 inch, a foot or something, and slope it this way to the front. We're just straightening these rebars up, Alan, to get these panels to where we can slide them directly down over these rebars. Okay, what we have here are the basic tools for putting these panels together. They're really simple. We have a standard skill saw. On this particular job, we're using a 7-inch blade, and what we use is a masonry blade. There's several on the market. DeWalt makes one, Makita makes one, all the major companies make them. They're for concrete cutting, they're diamond edged. Some have the long slots in them, and some have the holes that let the blade cool. And that's what we use. With this small blade, we have to cut the panel on each side. They do make a larger blade, a 10-inch blade, that works on a little bigger saw, where we don't have to roll the panel over, we can make one cut on it. Here we have a pair of leather gloves that's highly recommended that you wear for the fact that these panels have sharp edges where they cut the crosswire, the 9-gauge crosswire. You can see the edge on it. You can see it pick up on the edges of the nippers here. They're very sharp, so it's recommended that you use the leather gloves. Here we have a pair of end nippers, which I feel is the best tool for tying the panels together with, along with the normal wire that the rod busters use, basically an 18 gauge wire, which you can use singly or you can double up. So there are your nippers. There's your pneumatic nailing tool, which we use to panels together with. This particular tool is made by Stanley. It has a 3/4 inch jaw opening on it, as you can see here, which allows you to get around a couple of the wires. Sometimes the wire is off the wall, and that 3/4 jaw lets you get completely around that so that the staple can encase that. This is a clip of the staples right here. They're just a little U-shaped clip. The staples fasten right down over that arm. The clip comes up behind and locks them in. It's that simple. The tool runs on a normal compressor. Okay, let's go to the next item. Here we have a pair of bolt cutters, which is highly recommended. They do have a smaller pair that you can put into your tool belt. These are the 18-inch ones. You can either use the 14 or the 18. And these cutters are used basically for cutting the 9-gauge cross wire that goes through the panel. The end nippers basically handle the rest of that, and the saw. So that takes care of these. The other items are just a mallet. Put your stakes in with, whichever your choice is. Here we have a little piece of a metal lath that's put onto a piece of wood that's a scraper that you can use to route down some of the foam if you have to cut it out or scrape it down. We also can use a keyhole drywall saw, or a small saw, or a butcher knife with serrated edges on it, or any type of a chisel or any instrument that you can use to cut the foam with. Here we have a propane torch, which is used to create cavities for your rebar, or for your plumbing, or for your electrical flex. And then we have a couple spools of string to string line the items with, and the typical hammer. Let me go to the accessories with these panels. We have a piece of flat mesh right here. This happens to be a piece of 12.5 gauge, which is used to tie the panels together with. Here we have a 2-foot by 4-foot angle. It's 12 inches each way. This angle is used to put onto the outside corners. That way, if you're using a piece of 4-inch foam and the two 4-inch pieces come together, you still have 6 inches to overlap that and connect it together. These are for the external corners, or possibly for bringing a ceiling panel into a wall panel. Here we have the 6-inch angle, which is used on the inside corners. And it's best if you open these angles up a little bit. Sometimes they need to be pulled open so that when they're inserted, that the wires lay down tight to the panel. You don't want the wire to come out off the wall, because then the cement plaster has to be put on a little bit thicker and it's harder to get it straight. And basically, that's it. Those are your components and your tools. Okay, that's your first panel. Okay, let's put the second one over here. Now we're applicating a piece of flat mesh. And we're just applicating this flat mesh by hand. We're not using the hog ringing tool as of yet. And what we want to do is basically just hold these panels together until we can get a straight edge on them. We don't want to tie these. We want to tie these metal angles on two sides. A 3/4 inch jaw opening on this particular tool, and that allows you to get in here to where the wire isn't perfectly flat. It still gives you some room to put the ring on it. You see how it's working right there. Okay. Even here where this is spread out a little bit, it'll go around it. Some of the tools have a little narrower jaw. This is the recommended tool made by Stanley. don't want to put too many rings on these until we put our straight edge on here and stiffen this wall up and get it perfectly straight. If we put too many rings on right now, the panels won't flex and move after we straighten them out. So that'll be the next thing we do here, is get a straight edge on.
Pre-cutting the panels is very important. Here we're using a skill saw with a 7-inch concrete diamond edge cutting blade. Please be sure to wear all the proper apparel, safety glasses, leather gloves, and earplugs when using this saw.
Okay, what we're doing here is putting a strong back up. And you want to make sure that your strong back goes over these pieces of flat mesh that you've already installed prior to this, so that you don't have to move it to put the other flat mesh on up above. And then you also want to keep the back at least 12 inches from the end, so that when you put the corner angle on, that it's not in the way. And what I like to do is I like to go around at least 2 wires. That way we can tighten this up and get some pressure on it, and it's going to straighten these panels up. And you can put as many of these on as necessary. That's basically it right there. That wall's perfectly straight. Now it's okay to come in and staple these off. Okay, what we're doing here is securing the diagonal brace to plumb the wall, and we're using metal studs here because they were left over on the last job. You can use wooden studs, 2x4s, 2x6s, poles. We're in the process of making some poles that actually slide with conduits that have an adjustment on the bottom. But just about anything will work. It's just a temporary brace. Once we get the corners on, going the other way, the structure's not going to move. So that's our tie right there. Then we have our stake here in the ground that we're gonna fasten this to. Okay, what we're doing here is we're pumping this wall up, and we did pretty good because it's right on the money. Go ahead, Ricardo, and put that screw in. We've got 6 rebars here for the reason that we're going to have a panel roof on this. We're burning this cavity out so that the concrete can get in around it and work as a tie down, and also to keep the uplift, to keep this thing from coming up off the ground. Okay. What we're doing here is installing this corner angle, this 12 by 12 angle. We call it a 2x4 corner angle, which goes over the exterior corners. And we're nailing that down because we have this wall pretty darn plumb already. Just come in here. Make sure to lay down tight in the wall. Wires. You don't want all these wires sticking out. See how nice and tight that is? What we're doing here is we're putting the interior corner angles in. They're actually a 1 foot by 4 foot product that's bent at a 90-degree angle. And what we're doing is we're opening this up to make sure that it's a little bit greater than a 90-degree angle. That way, this angle, when we put it to the inside corner, the wires aren't sticking out. They're flat on the wall, as you can see right there. And that way, when we put these staples in it and we go to put the plaster on later, the cement or shotcrete, the wires are flat to the wall.
Here we're installing the pre-cut headers over the door openings. These were measured and preset. You can see how they center on the columns. This is very simple to do. You'll see the employee here placing the flat mesh, getting ready with a pneumatic nailing tool to staple these flat meshes to hold these pieces secure and flush. Here you can see the building starting to take shape. They're installing some flat mesh, fastening and finishing, putting the final touches on the wall system. Here we're installing a 2-foot angle, getting ready to lay the roof panels in place. These panels will be set down directly over the top of the splat mesh. The splash mesh is set to a line. You can see the string line here on the top. Everything is plumbed up and leveled and true. Here we're placing this panel, getting ready to fasten it down onto the preset angle which set the elevation for us. These panels are really very light and easy to install. In this photo, we're actually prepping the building and getting things ready for the cement application.
It's a plaster product that plastering contractors use. It's a corner bead, and what we like to do is sometimes we'll fasten this on and we'll tie this down with wire, and then when the cement is applicated, they have a perfectly smooth finish to go to, and you can plumb it up, level it, put it on with the level or straight edge or whatever, and it makes it easier for the cement application. Concrete shells. And we've done that by using these same angles that you see right here. We put one on the top and we put one angle on the bottom, and then we cut the piece of foam the width that we wanted, the desired width. This happens to be 12 inches. We're also going to take these corners and we're going to put these corners on. Right here we're going to put one on that edge. We're going to put one on the bottom side. We're going to put it on there nice and straight. And that's going to be your finished product. Right there. That simple. We'll put a straight edge on this, fasten this on there with some wires, put the cement on, that shelf is finished. Now down below me, this particular job, because this is a horse barn, we're getting ready to frame a rack to place the saddles. We're going to put 2 of those saddle racks, one here, one over here, and what we're going to do in a few moments is place a piece of foam in underneath of this and fasten it into the wall with another piece of angle above it and here, and we'll put a temporary brace here down to the ground until we put the cement on.
Here again, we're installing metal corner beads as straight edges around the perimeters of these windows to help the plasters keep the cement straight. On these windows, they were set in place into a metal stud frame. The surround was of metal stud. The window was then screwed in place. Here we used a womanized wooden treated plate for the jamb on this particular opening for Lucky to come in and out of his barn. These wooden jambs work quite well with our system.
All of the shoring that you're looking at, that's just temporary until we put the cement on the sidewalls, which we'll do tomorrow. We'll applicate the cement all the way around the perimeter to give it the strength, and then we'll go up to the top side and we'll pour the cement on the roof. Actually, we're going to spray it on. You can also see the electrical up there if you're looking up, as you see the boxes and the wires that are pulled through there. And this particular job, we used a small diameter 1/2-inch cable, and we were able to pull it through without burning the cavities with the torch. If you'll notice above the door openings, we put a 1/2-inch number 4 rebar on both sides, and also down the columns, just to make sure that we had plenty of strength on those openings. Those are what we call a miniature bond beam. They can be made greater by removing all of the foam and adding more rebar. Say the opening was 15 feet instead of 8 feet, then we would remove the foam and add maybe 2 more pieces of rebar. Angle, we call a butterfly angle over the garage door. It runs at a 45-degree angle. It's a 2-foot piece of flat mesh. We recommend putting those on over every opening, under and above any windows or door openings, and that gives reinforcement to the wire and helps the cement to be held in place.
What you see here is the cement application. This is a hand-applied cement mortar mix, which consists of 3 parts sand and 1 part Portland cement. Bill Hadrian here and 2 other Hadrian finishers are applying the Portland cement mortar mix to the 3D panel wall. Please take note of the mud board, mud stand, hock, and trowel. These are the tools that are required for the hand application. These tools can also be used to apply the finish coat. Here we have Bill Hadrian using the handheld hopper to spray the cement onto the wall panel. This is basically the same cement and mortar mix with the Portland cement and sand. This hopper will work quite well for those of you which are inexperienced and not able to use the hawk and trowel the way that some of the experienced help is. This same hopper can be used to spray ceilings. Here we have Bill Hadrian holding the nozzle, spraying the cement mortar mix onto the 3D panel wall system. There are many ways to applicate this mix. A shotcrete pump, gunite pump, or a mortar mix pump will work. Here we have the Hadrian employee shoveling sand and mixing the cement into the mortar mix pump. Here we have one of the employees with a hand trowel. It's called a scratching trowel, preparing the wall for the second coat of cement. You can see the scratch marks being placed into the cement. Here we have another employee on the scaffolding with the same hawk and trowel applying a stucco finish coat. There are many types of finish coats that can be applied over the cement brown coat. In many countries and many states in different areas, people do not apply this finish coat. They apply a paint finish or other finish directly over the cement brown coat. Here you can see the finished product, the stucco finish on Lucky's new home. What I would like you to do is please keep in mind that this could have just as easily been a low-income home. This product is very, very simple to build with. Thank you.